Monday because we're not done.
What?
There's another 8 hours training.
I can't on Monday. I'm closing on Monday.
We're playing with you guys. No,
Oh.
actually, we're going to module 6 right now.
Finance is closing the month on Monday.
Oh.
Go back. Yeah, we're going to module number 6, which is on page 77. We're almost done for the day. 2 more modules. And
You missed the fun.
Yeah.
okay. So, module number 6, observing achievement of results using scales and matrices. Annette, can you read the first bullet under learning objectives?
Participants learn the process of creating an outcome scale.
Maria, can you read the second one, please?
Participants understand how outcome scales can be used to measure incremental change and movement towards self-sufficiency.
Thank you. Rosie, can you read the next one?
Participants are able to combine outcome scales to form an outcome metrics to capture multiple interventions, needs, programs, and outcomes.
Terry, can you read the last one?
Participants understand the uses of the outcome matrix and can analyze an outcome matrix.
So we're going to page 78, Introduction to Outcome Scales. An outcome scale is a continuum that describes the different states or condition of the status. So you look at on page 70. Okay. So you look on 78, we have an autometal couch, which is give you the effort fuel, 3/4, half, 1/4, and empty. So this is giving you a scale, right? So when you start, you know that your fat is really good when you have the tank full. Then you know that the performance, well, not the performance, but you know how far can you go based on your skill where it goes. So if I ask you guys how often do you fill out your tank, and what scale do you go in? When you're full, when you're 3/4, when you're half, when you're in the quarter, when you're empty. What?
Right
You
now.
empty? Well, where do you fill up your tank by?
What?
When you fill up your tank? When in what scale? In what number? The last one?
Are you doing half?
You're doing half? But
I
most
don't
of it-
wait until it's.
You don't wait until it's over?
Mostly in.
I hate putting gas, so the least amount I have to do it, the better. I wait till it's.
Yeah. So there's a lot of variables that need to be considered when identifying the well-being of our fuel tank. Now the type of vehicle we have is depending on the tank that we have, the car that we have a small tank or a bigger tank. So based on the fuel gauge, an outcome scale can be used to identify incremental change as well. So obviously it's a big difference between going from empty to full. Right? If you're on empty, you know you're going to a situation where you're not steady, that the car can be stand and that's it. You cannot go anywhere. But if you go to full, there's a change on your situation. You cannot go to anywhere that you want to go. So outcome scales are used to identify and measure incremental change. It can be used to identify and assess or measure incremental change in families, agencies, and communities. Ándale. ¿Qué eres haciendo? Identifying that anything below the prevention. Okay. So going to page 79. You have the scale methodology development by the monitoring and assessment task force. So they created 5 different levels. You have thriving, safe, stable, vulnerable, and in crisis. Between stable and vulnerable, we have a prevention. Okay? Which is between vulnerable and stable. So identifying that anything below the prevention line requires intervention. So this is saying that upping this table up, they're dependent. They're dependent? Independent. And these are dependent. These are people that are dependent on services or providing on funding to survive, and these are people that are thriving and are moving into independence, no longer surviving on any other benefits that we have. So above is independence and below is dependence. Safe may require some assistance. Stable may require some assistance, but thriving more than likely not. Each agency must establish our benchmarks for the 5 points in the service area. Just like a small tank needs to be refilled more often than a large one, this will help staff assess, measure, and note movement in their customers towards self-sufficiency. If we go to page 40, we have developing housing outcome scale. So think about different types of housing conditions. Just brainstorm right now with you and write your statements on different possibilities for housing conditions. Page 80.
For housing conditions?
Yes.
I think we can-
Right, any situation, okay? It can be homeless, it can be living in an apartment,
Oh.
home ownership, the different
Oh, that's
situations of
different. Oh,
getting
okay.
housing condition, getting regards to housing. Okay, you like, yeah.
That's why we can,
Or where do you need, or what do you have in housing situations? You have homeless people, you have subsidized housing. Try to look on that. Actually, what we're trying to do is think of the scenarios of housing. You may have a house, you may not have a house, you may be living in someone's room, on the couch for a while. Maybe you're renting. There's different situations. Paying mortgage. Okay, are you done? Yeah, so Terry, you want to give me some of the ones that you have?
I have renting,
Okay.
ownership. Did you ever tell you all of them or just?
Just a couple. That's okay. Norma, do you have any? Annette?
Yeah, when they have like all working utilities.
Okay. Working utility.
Like
Any
we
other-
don't have running water.
Oh, non-habitable,
Yeah, that's it.
non-habitable, where you can't even live in it because there's no water, there's no electric, there's no.
What else?
Also, the school dormitories.
Oh, that's a good one, I think.
Anything else?
More than one family in a home.
That's
Also rooming.
Living with mom.
Multi-families.
Roommates.
multi-families. What about subsidized housing?
Subsidized
Public
housing.
housing.
Or,
Housing.
Tax credit homes. That's another.
a motel, that's like temporary, a motel. You don't have anywhere to live, so you're just living in a motel.
Homeless?
Homeless. Shelters.
On-site shelters. The car.
Mobile homes.
Couch surfing, yeah, I could house to house.
Okay.
But what
So-
about in their automobile? We have a lot of people living in automobiles.
Yeah, the mobile homes. We have a lot of mobile homes.
Okay, so now that we have this list, if we go to page 81, we have a scale, right?
Yes.
We have a scale and it's giving us a benchmark which is thriving, safe, stable, vulnerable, and in crisis. We have our prevention line, then we have our outcomes. So based on what you guys just provided to us, which for you guys will be in crisis?
Crisis.
In crisis, for you guys.
Going down, I would say non-habitable.
Check the list that you have and then which will be your crisis, your in crisis.
Okay, non-habitable,
And what other?
homeless.
Homeless, living in the car.
Remember they have different ones, so don't throw
Yeah.
everything into one.
Car,
Homeless,
Vulnerable would be the shelters,
Okay, vulnerable will be what?
shelters,
What other one?
couch surfing,
Okay,
Multi-family?
would that we consider,
I would consider that safe.
that could be here.
Well,
That is if it's like a two-bedroom apartment and it's like.
Well, but
Stable
you're still
is
safe.
different, please.
I mean, it's not the best conditions, but you're safe.
So-
Subsidized housing.
So if you go to,
would
you go to
well,
stable,
Stable would be the multifamily.
multi-family,
You're
okay,
stable.
room.
Yeah. The dorms. Mo-
Motel,
Motel.
I will think it will be vulnerable.
Vulnerable, yeah, motel would be
Because they
vulnerable.
don't have a home, they're just staying in a place, they
Yeah.
have a safe place, but they don't.
Yeah. Subsidized housing I would consider stable, I mean safe.
Safe.
Okay. What else?
Ownership
Ownership will be.
is thriving.
Driving, okay. Renting,
Renting, thriving.
mobile home,
Mobile home is safe.
Safe.
okay, so we're going to
House
that.
serving, all of them.
Couch surfing, you're vulnerable when you're couch surfing.
Yeah. Thank you. So if you look at this what you consider it will be a safe scale, right? So if you look at that way, so remember that vulnerable stable is here on the borderline of prevention, but there still needs some assistance. Isn't subsidized housing helping clients just to be able to pay the rent? So for me, this one will be safe.
Stable.
Safe will be on subsidized housing. Any place they're renting, any apartment. That will be safe. Because they're able to pay it.
Themselves.
Finally, they're thriving when they're finally owning a home, paying mortgage or something like that. So now you have an idea of how we train skills, how we work with them to be able to measure our goals, our statements. So if we go to page 81, they have an analysis of a sample housing scale. So if you go to page 83, you can see the sample of the housing scale. Do you see any difference between this scale and the one that we have here? Don't check on the outcomes, check on the scale itself. Do you see any differences?
So they have the subsidized under stable.
Okay. If we go to the top, they're putting you the outcome level. They're telling you it's a family, agency, or community level. Remember that we're talking the whole day we're going to family needs, community needs, and agency needs? So first they are identifying what kind of outcome that they're looking for, family, agency, or community. Then on the benchmarks, they're putting numbers, they're giving a rate on the numbers. To see how much is the need for the client. And usually what is more common is when you have the benchmarks, to only have one outcome, so you don't have a hard time measuring where they are at. In this one, as you can notice, they have several of them, and they're dividing it. For example, in crisis, they have dangerous or no housing. They have safe shelter for 30 days, it has 2A. Notice of mortgage foreclosure, 2B. Unsafe shelter, 1A, sustained or unsafe ownership or rental, 1B, homeless, 0. So they're given a score to the clients. So they can measure exactly where are on the benchmark to see what we can do, or what they need.
What is the A and B?
Here it is. You notice the mortgage measurement, 2B.
Yeah, but what does A and B stand for?
That's, you see on the crisis it says 0 and 2,
Yeah.
here in crisis? It's given the numbers to see the points that they're getting. They're getting 1 or 2. So they're getting 2A and 2B because they have different outcomes to measure to get the 2 points.
So A and B are outcomes?
All in this column, the left side, this side is your outcomes. So because they have more than one outcome in each benchmark, they provided a number to identify.
So there's a B and there's a B.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. But they are avoiding, if depending where they are, they're getting the 2 points or they're getting less.
Okay.
So that's what they're using it. They're using it to get a number on that. I'm going to page 84. establishing a placement on the scale. It is important to establish a standardized procedure for placing client on an outcome scale. Once the mesh scale definitions are agreed upon, everyone who uses the scale must use the same definitions for each benchmark. So once you define what your benchmark is going to be, we don't change it, we all keep on the same place, we don't move it around. Once we decided, that's what we decided. It is difficult to accurately measure movement on a scale if the initial placement is faulty. You must have a reliable way to establish the baseline. One way we can do this, if you go to page 85, you have a sample assessment of questions. So actually when you look in the first column, choose the one statement that best describes the current housing. That's the only part you will give to the client, so they can check the best option for them. And as you can see, you have the benchmarks and then you have your housing scale, which what they follow, so you can identify the client need or the scale where they belong to. Clearly establishing a baseline is a key support movement and collect reliable data. This is going to help us to get the actual data of the client situation. We just need to be based on this. We used to have our client survey, which will help us to find out exactly how they were doing, what they like, what they didn't like, or the services that we were providing. Let's go to page 86. Using outcome scales. Outcome scales have been recognized for many decades by disciplines in the health and social services field when it is important to measure function and incremental change. And then can you read the part that is in community action?
In community action, outcome scales are used to measure incremental change between scale benchmarks, which allows us to document the movement and conditions of dependency to increasing self-sufficiency.
So what they're telling us, the scales are helping us to actually measure when our client is moving from dependent to independent and how they're trying, how they're moving along between the measurements. The outcome scales can be used to, Terry, can you read the first bullet?
Help visualize the big picture of the situation facing the client at first meeting.
Maria, can you read the second one, please? Thank you, Terry.
Measure change by comparing scale placement at two or more different times, indicating positive or negative change, or no change categorized as neutral or stable.
Rosie, can you read the next one?
Determine how much progress and the time it takes an individual to reach the next scale benchmark.
So as you can see, actually the scales are helping us to realize how fast the client can go, if they're actually moving forward or they're staying on the same level. It actually helps us to measure how the client is doing. So how do we measure progress in reporting using an outcome scale? So we go to page 87. Measuring progress and reporting using an outcome scale. So reading part of it, consider the kind of evidence or documentation that will be used to verify client's progress. It is the individual benchmark or outcomes on the outcome scale. They are the reportable outcomes, not the labels driving or in crisis. Okay, so depending where they are, that's what we need to report, not the labels where they are. Okay, in the housing, for example, in the housing example that we were doing, we will not report that the person moved up to benchmarks in the crisis to safe. How we report it is that the person acquired permanent, safe, and secure non-subsidized housing as a measurable outcome. We're not going to say, oh, client went from stable to thriving. We need to client obtain affordable subsidized, depending on which mark they move. That's how we report it to get it as an outcome. Moving to page 87. Page 87, no, 88 and 89. That's for you to do an activity as your own, to redo it, so you can see what benchmarks do you think we can use here in Project Rover and any other agency that you have. It's like the one that we went through housing, just create the list and then you create the own table and put it on based on the benchmarks that you think we should work on. So let's go to page 90. Page 90 is the introduction of the outcome matrix. Annette, can you read the first paragraph, please?
As we have seen, the outcome scale helps measure incremental change in a single category or domain. Think of the previous example example of a housing scale. We can measure change by first administering an assessment and the initiation of service resulting in placement on a scale to identify the starting point. Any subsequent assessment and placement on the outcome scale is then compared to the baseline, which yield three possibilities: a positive change, negative change, or no change.
In the human condition, we know well-being or achieving a level of self-sufficiency depends on the congruence of multiple factors that allow us to be functional on a daily analysis. So, what is an outcome matrix? Is the simplest way to put it is a grouping of outcome scales arranged side by side. So we can have more than one scale. So we have right now housing. Remember that when Jose was talking about the CSVG domains? We have education, we have housing, we have, what other ones do we have? Assistant for senior empowerment, employment. So we have, you can put different scales together so you can read your, you create a outcome matrix. So going to page 91. By using a common framework, outcome scales combined into an outcome matrix can be aggregated and provided a multi-dimensional look at the agency's work. Aggregation is important because it allows agencies to present data on a number of clients and programs in a uniform, quantifiable manner. Again, we go here. We have our housing department, we have our utility assistance, and we have our weatherization department. So we have these scales with us to see how the clients are going on through, and that's how we report it to the state. So an outcome matrix is used to, Terry, can you read the first bullet?
Capture a client's progress, incremental change across more than one scale, program or service, and over time.
And then can you read the second one?
Capture the data by client across all agency programs and services in addition to capturing data by each program or service. This allows for an uncomplicated
Maya, can you read the next one?
Analyze data by both client and program.
Rosie, can you read the next one?
Identify where the client has strengths above the prevention line and where the client needs improvement below the prevention line.
Identifying the relationship between different domains of a problem or where outcome scales interrelate. And it also helps to provide a background context for explaining the agency's actions and strategies. It creates a framework for reporting, adjust agency resource allocation to areas where it will be the most efficient and effective, where the problem is, and create a mini needs assessment based on the experience of the client population. So if we go to page 92, we have a sample of an outcome matrix. In the outcome matrix presented on the next page, which is page 93, you will see 6 areas which the agency might use to define well-being of a family. You have income, employment, housing, education and training, transportation, and child care. So if you go to page 93, you will see you have a outcome matrix, and you have your columns divided by benchmarks, and then you have the income, the employment, the housing, education, transportation, and child care. So this is showing the progress of a family from February 1st, and then they measure again on May 1st, and then August 1st. If you want to look on, let's go to income. If you notice any increases, this is the first time that they see the client, and they were between 50%, 100% of poverty of family size, correct? So did they move or they stayed the same by May 1st? From 100 to 125, right? So if you can see, this is helping you guys to check the progress that the family has and how often they've been moving in. So if they've been measuring every 3 months, so by the end of August 1st, they already went over 125 to 175 of poverty adjust based on the family member. So if we go to child care, if you notice on February 1st, they were vulnerable. Child on waiting list for enrollment in child care, correct? Mm-hmm. You see how far they went up? If you look to May 1st, where are they on the benchmarks?
They're enrolled.
Yeah, but is it safe, trading, stable?
Safe.
So they were from vulnerable to safe. So actually, if you see the the progress of the family, that will be the one that went most up based on the other ones and the criteria. So you see how actually the outcome matrices can help us to look how the client is doing and how often are they improving and what are they doing. Do you have any questions on this? Any questions on that? Okay, just going back to it. Right now, on your Roma cycle, you already went to assessment, already went to planning, which is what happened when you did your services, the implementation, that when you decided what services that you're going to do, you already went to the results. Basically, right now, this is helping you in your evaluation. What is working, how is not working, how the clients are doing, is it staying the same, if they're not doing the same. If they're the same, then you start again. What do we need to do to help the client move from the benchmark they are in? Any questions? Okay, then I'm going to leave the floor for Jose to go to the next module.
What if clients just don't wanna do? Some don't wanna help themselves, they don't wanna comply. Do you kick them out of